are the lives of the rearranged, scattered souls who've been displaced, nowhere else to turn. Like Bethlehem, we've packed the place. Human need fills every space, and no room at the end. Still, God found a corner and made a bed down in the hay. Could he reappear, make his advent here? Will he still draw near today? My world is crying, crying for Christmas. Some way to know for sure that our God is with us. We could all use a sign, little glimpse of divine for a world that still cries for Christmas. Feeding trough on a dirty floor, unimpressive welcome for God's almighty Son. How he is blind to incarnation, daily proof of our salvation. Love's already come, and we are not abandoned. We're all alone in our despair. No, he who once came down, he can still be found everywhere and everywhere. My world is crying, crying for Christmas. Some way to know for sure that our God is with us. Once a baby so small, who would die for us all, for a world that still cries for Christmas. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. The Lord is come. Jesus, you are here. Jesus, you are now. Jesus, you are here. Jesus, you are now. My world is crying, crying for Christmas. Some way to know for sure that our God is with us. We can all be a sign that His love is alive for this world. Our world is crying, crying for Christmas. Some way to know for sure that our God is with us. We could all be a sign that His love is alive for this world that still cries for Christmas.
Thank you so much for that, Scott. I want to ask if there are any kids here tonight who would want to come up to the front right here and feel, you certainly don't have to, but this part is for you. So I want to invite you to come on down and be part of what's happening here. You can just, anywhere right around here is great. You can just have a seat right there. It's so good to see you. You know, we were going to have some other kids here tonight, but you know what? Kids are dropping like flies right now with getting sick or exposed, so we're sad for them, and we're really glad that you're here. So thanks for being here. Are you excited about Christmas? Yeah, me too. Excited for what you can get? Yes. Let's be honest, right? For real. So did you guys ever get a Christmas present that you had to put together after you got it?
Yes. Yeah, now
Yes.
actually.
Like what?
Legos.
Well, of course, you have to put together Legos. Anything else that you couldn't really use till it was put together? Like, did you ever get a bike or anything for Christmas that...
Not really, but that's Legos.
Legos. Legos are really kind of the thing, you know.
They're kind of the most in kind of thing.
They are the most in kind of thing ever. Yeah. Addison, would you agree with that? Yes, for sure. Yes.
This year we got like a marble thing.
Yeah, there are lots of things that you have to... You know, sometimes even grown-ups get things that you have to put together. Like sometimes you go to IKEA and you get things and they, you know, sometimes there's extra parts and you're not really sure if it's going to stay together afterwards. But, yeah, tables and such. But I thought that, you know, we didn't get to do our kids' Christmas program this year that we normally get to do. And I thought maybe we could have one that we sort of put together tonight, together. When I was a kid, there was a book that we used to read called Stone Soup. Did you guys ever read that book?
I have.
You have read it? I'll be honest, it wasn't my favorite book, because you look at that and you go, I didn't really like the drawings in it very much. But I did really like the story. The story of it was these soldiers go into this town, and the villagers are all afraid that the soldiers are going to come in and they're going to eat all their food. And so they're like, you know what, let's pretend like we don't have any food, and we'll hide it all, and we'll act like we're really poor. And so they tried to look, can you guys look poor and sad?
I am poor.
That was very convincing. Yes. And that's a really, I know what you're saying. You can use that look on your mom later, because that might work.
So am I. Everybody, all of our friends have Nintendo Switch.
It's true. I remember that feeling growing up. My cousins. But anyway, so these soldiers come to town, and they were hungry, and they went to the people, and they're like, do you have anything for us to eat? And the people are like, no, we don't have anything to eat. And the soldiers kind of knew what was going on, but they're like, you know what, that's okay. We'll just make some stone soup. And the people were like, what are you talking about? What's stone soup? And they're like, well, we'll just boil up some water and put some rocks in it, and it'll make this great soup. And people are like, that doesn't sound like that works. They said, no, really, we'll do that. So they said, would you at least have some water we could have? And they said, yeah, there's a pump over here, you can get some water. So they started boiling this water, okay? And then they went and they threw some rocks in it, and then they threw some more rocks in it. And then finally one of the soldiers tasted it, and he's like, you know, this is really, really good stone soup. I wish we had some salt and pepper, because then it would be a little better, but, you know, I know we don't have any. And somebody was like, well, actually, I do have some salt and pepper, and I could bring that out. And so they brought that out, and they added a little salt to it, a little pepper, and yeah, you can see what's going to happen here, right? So the soldier said, oh, this is fantastic. You know, it almost reminds me of that soup I had one time where we had added some vegetables, and that really spiced it up. But, you know, I wish we could, but we can't. And somebody was like, well, I do have a carrot, I guess I could bring. And so they brought in a carrot, and then somebody else said, oh, I've got an onion, and I could bring that. And somebody brought some celery, and they just kept adding more and more things. And so pretty much, it wasn't stone soup at all anymore, right? It was all these other things that made it. So we're going to say, we've got this empty manger here, and we're going to see if we can actually fill this thing out and make an actual nativity on the fly here. And it might get a little crazy, but I think some of the grown-ups might have come with some things that could make this work. So first of all, one thing that we need, we kind of need somebody who is a bit of a storyteller, maybe somebody who has written some stories, articles for newspapers, and maybe even a book. Oh, Dean, you're waving your hand at. That's right, you did write a book, didn't you? Why don't you come on down? That's perfect. We're on our way here. We've got a storyteller. So there's some other things we need. I think we need Gabriel, and we need a Mary, and you guys have to have some costumes here and things. So let's see if I'm gonna just see if you guys randomly brought some things with you tonight. And if I call out what you have, just bring it down here to Claire. If somebody brought a set of bed sheets, you can bring that on. Yeah, bring it on over. Anybody brought some extra disposable masks, unused preferably? Hey, yeah, come on down, Carrie, with those. Old neckties, if anybody has, great. You can just drop them off over here. Some burlap. Great. Hey, you guys are amazing. I can't believe you randomly had all this stuff. If anybody brought some tinsel, yeah, great. Come on down. Or some fabric, just some generic fabric. Thank you, Lord. I should have known you'd have fabric. Perfect. And a blue scarf. I'm thinking, oh yeah, great. And maybe some raffia. Did anybody bring some raffia? Oh, of course. Marissa, thank you. Come on down. That would probably be enough to get us started, at least here. So let's see. Let's have Gabriel and Mary come stand by Mr. Dean here, and let's just see if we can make this thing start to happen. All right, action.
God sent the angel Gabriel to a town in Galilee called Nazareth, to a young girl pledged in marriage to a man named Joseph, who is of the house of David. And the young girl's name was Mary.
Greetings, you who are highly favored. Greetings, you who are highly favored. The Lord is with you. I'm not sure what you mean.
Gabriel?
And don't be afraid, Mary. This is a good thing. You are going to have a baby boy. You'll name him Jesus. He will be great and will be called the Son of the Most High. His kingdom will never end. Really? I am not even married. The Holy Spirit will come upon you, and the power of the Most High will overshadow you. So the Holy One to be born will be called the Son of God. I am the Lord's servant. May it happen to me according to your word.
Mary sang a song of praise to God.
My soul magnifies the Lord, and my spirit rejoices in God my Savior.
I invite you all to sing with us. If you know it, you can stay in your seats though. Good news of great joy for every woman and every man. This will be a sign to you, a baby born in Bethlehem. Come and worship, do not be
great start. But I think we need a couple more supplies for this next bit. So, does anybody bring a wooden mallet?
What?
Oh, excellent. I said a mallet, not Thor's hammer here. So I think that's great because Joseph was a carpenter, so he needs a wooden mallet here. Here, Joseph's right up here. We can just bring it right on up to Joseph here. It's super heavy. All right. What about some winter socks? Anybody got some winter socks? And then we need a gift bag. Somebody has a gift bag? Oh, thank you. And actually, Drew, why don't you just stay up here? Because, and do you have your phone on you as well? Does it have a flashlight on it?
It does.
Okay. You're going to be the innkeeper for us. So let's open up your gift bag here, and you can turn your flashlight on and drop it down, flip it up the other way here, and we'll put it. We'll just put it down flat here. And there you go. So you're gonna be the innkeeper then. You can hold your little lantern there for everybody. I think that's great. So let's go to the next section, storyteller, and take it from there.
Now Joseph was a righteous man, and when he found out Mary was expecting, he didn't want to embarrass her.
You know, I hate to make a big scene. I think I'll just call things off quietly. Yeah, that feels right. That's what I'll do. I'll tell her tomorrow.
One night while he was asleep, an angel appeared to Joseph in a dream. Angel.
Joseph, son of David, don't be afraid to go ahead and take Mary as your wife. This baby is of God. She will give birth to a son, and you are to give him the name Jesus, because he will save his people from their sins.
All of this took place to fulfill what the Lord had said through the prophet.
Behold, the virgin will be with child and will give birth to a son, and they will call him Emmanuel, which means God with us.
All right. So let's start. Well, I guess we've got one more scene here with the storyteller, and then we will move you guys into the stable. I think. Yes. Okay. That's right. I'm the one getting lost here. All right. Go ahead.
Now in those days, a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that a census should be taken of the whole empire. Everyone went to their town to register. Joseph also went up from Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to the city of David, called Bethlehem, since he was from the house in the line of David. He took his pregnant fiancée Mary with him to register. But everywhere they went to try to stay, all the inns were full.
Can I help you?
Do you have any rooms?
Sorry, we're already full.
Please, my wife is about to deliver a baby.
Well, I guess we have a stable out here in the back.
We'll take it.
While they were there, the time came for her child to be born, and Mary gave birth to her firstborn, a son. She wrapped him in swaddling cloths and laid him in a manger.
Stick with us.
Okay, so now we are needing some more supplies at this point. Did anybody bring some PVC pipe?
I have that, Jeff.
Oh, perfect. Yes. Thank you, Clay. All right. What about, anybody got some ribbons?
Oh, I am here.
Oh, terrific. Terrific. We need some ribbons and more ribbons. Great. And did anybody bring a stuffed animal with them to? Perfect. Yeah, Bill, bring it on down. That's so great. You can just set it right over here. That's perfect. That's so. Thank you, Bill, for being vulnerable and admitting that that's what he did. Okay, and let's see. We've got at least one shepherd. Do we need two more? Anybody willing to read for a shepherd part here tonight?
One line.
One line. You've got one line. Anybody? Kevin, thank you. Yeah, you get to have a crook even. All right. So let's, one last thing that we need for this part for really creating the environment. If you happen to have your cell phone with you and it has a flashlight on it, you can take it out at this point and help us create a starry sky. So just bring out your flashlight. Thank you. Oh, I see twinkle stars all over the place. That's perfect. That looks amazing. I love it. So keep those up during this scene. Go ahead, Dean.
And there were shepherds living in the fields nearby, keeping watch over their flocks by night. Just then, an angel of the Lord stood before them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. Angel?
Don't be afraid, for behold, I bring you good news of great joy that will be for all the people. Today in the city of David, a Savior has been born to you.
She has one more line. One more line for the angel.
One more line. Sorry about that.
He is Christ the Lord, and this will be a sign to you. You will find a baby wrapped in swaddling cloths and lying in a manger.
Shepherd one? Shepherd one.
I think it's you. It's you. Okay, this is you.
Storyteller.
Sorry? So they hurried off and found Mary. Oh, sorry.
Oh, wait.
And suddenly
There appeared
with an angel a great multitude of the heavenly host.
And you guys get to be the great multitude here. So let's say this line together. Glory to God in the highest. Peace on earth to those on whom his favor rests.
That was amazing.
Let us go to Bethlehem.
Yeah, let's see this baby the Lord has told us about.
So they hurried off and found Mary and Joseph and the baby, who was lying in the manger. After they had seen the child, they spread the message they had received about him.
You guys sing with us one more time. While shepherds kept their watching over silent flocks by night, behold, throughout the heaven there shone a holy light. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain.
more things to finish this off here. So, did anybody happen to bring a jar full of gold coin? You know, the chocolate gold. Oh, of course, chocolate. And Kim, I mean, come on down. That's perfect. What about some purple fabric? Or, oh, great, great. Anybody bring some imperial margarine? Oh, that's great. See, and that's, if you guys remember the old commercials for that, it's Kim's hat right there, right? We're a little out of sequence, but you know, the punchline first and then the joke. So that's good. All right, what about red velvet jacket?
Yes.
Of course. Yes. You can give it to any one of the wise men there. And a vase or a jar. Any one of the wise men. Yeah. A wrapped present. And a gold cape. Oh, yes, of course. Hey, Tony.
Yes.
How'd you feel about reading for Herod while you're up here? You've got your readers on already anyway.
Well, certainly.
Great. Maybe, can we get a crown for the king here? That would be perfect.
I do not.
That's great. All right, Mr. Storyteller, bring us home here.
All right. This all happened during the time of King Herod. After Jesus was born, Magi from the east arrived in Jerusalem. Magi what?
Where is the one who has been born King of the Jews?
We saw his star in the east.
We've come all this way to worship him.
And Herod.
Where is this supposed to happen?
Herod learned that a prophet had spoken about it centuries earlier.
But you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah, for out of you will come a ruler who will be the shepherd of my people Israel.
Herod sent the wise men off to find Jesus.
Go to Bethlehem and search carefully for the child. When you find him, report to me.
After they had heard the king, they went on their way, and the star they had seen in the east went ahead of them, until it stood over the place where the child was laying in the manger. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with great delight.
Look, the star!
We found him.
Let's go inside.
On coming to the house, they saw the child with his mother Mary, and they fell down and worshipped him. Then they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Today we join with all of those first people who celebrated the arrival of Jesus Christ. And we all said, "Glory to God in the highest, peace on earth, joy for all people."
job, you guys. How did that feel? Any thoughts about, what do you say about that sort of a nativity? Did you like it? I mean, we've done a lot of these over the years, and I can't say that came together the worst. I mean, there have been quite a few. So anyway, thank you for that. Really, I wanted to do things that way tonight for a few reasons, but one of it was it felt to me like a picture of kind of where we're at right now. A lot of chaos, a lot of pandemonium, and a lot of adapting to things and just kind of going with it. That seems to be the nature of our world and our life. Everything seems a little chaotic right now, right? And I just had a couple of observations that I wanted to make as we wrap up here tonight. It wasn't just to be silly and do something funny. There, a serious side to that really is, I would say, I was gonna point out that 6 years ago we did a scripted play that was about a church that was trying to do an improv nativity, and absolutely everything fell apart and went wrong. And so I think we did pretty good tonight considering. So, but the reason I wanted to do this was to point out the fact that chaos invites Christ. Chaos actually invites Christ. We really don't like chaos. We don't like going through it. It's a lot of times destructive and overwhelming, and that is all true about it. But it's also the times when Christ shows up. When he showed up, when he was born, it was in the middle of chaos. The world was in chaos, and he came to address the chaos introduced into the world by sin. That's the whole purpose of the nativity in the first place. And you think about when Jesus came, and you think about even his entrance was marked by chaos. Mary gets that great announcement from the Lord that she's going to have Jesus, and then immediately there's the scandal of it, right? Everybody around her is going to be talking and casting judgment on this unwed mother. And then there's the disruption of going to Bethlehem for this unplanned move and having to be there for the census with no place to stay, and the trauma of giving birth in a stable alone with this man that you're not even married to yet. And then there's the threat of Herod's rage, who wants Jesus eliminated. And the uncertainty of being immigrants and having to flee the country right away. So all of this turmoil, it was a struggle right from the start for Jesus. But chaos is why he came into the world. Chaos is what he came to address. He came to answer the darkness with light. He came to speak stillness to the stormy seas, and to silence the voices of the demons, and to wring life out of death. All these things, this chaos that we fight and we resist and we fear, it's also an open door to redemption. Because that's where Christ is active. That's where God says, I am making all things new. Right? That is what he does. And I think that the manger introduces God's joyful reordering of chaos. That's him stepping in and saying, I'm going to make something of this. I'm going to change this situation. And he didn't just do that one time. He does that for all of us still. That baby in the manger, that wasn't just a one-time event. It's not like because we don't have the manger here, it's not as good for us. It's kind of like there was pre-Christ darkness and then post-Christ darkness, and everything post-Christ has changed. It's different, and he is still present. And he even told his disciples, I'm leaving, and it's better for you because my Spirit will be with you. You'll have access to everything all the hope that Christ brought into the world that at that time is still here and available to us now. So your chaos, whatever is overwhelming you, whatever feels broken to you right now, it's all the terrifying, horrifying things that it feels like it is, but it's more than that too, because Christ is invited into that. And that's what he says, look what I can do here. So chaos invites Christ in, but then also Christ invites response. When Christ came, it called for a response from everybody that we encountered in that story, right? You know, Mary was invited to be part of it, and she said yes to it. Joseph also got invited, and he said yes. And the shepherds were told where Jesus was, and they said, let's go. The wise men got to see that star, and they said, let's go. We need to say, let's go to Jesus, because he is still inviting us. You know, just like we were all invited to be part of this going on, Christ is inviting each one of us. And it calls for response. It calls for us to say yes to him. Because that's what makes the difference. Just the fact of his entering into chaos doesn't bring it home for us until we can actually experience it. And that calls for a response on our part. Some way of getting there to see him. It was seeing Jesus that changed things for the shepherds and for the wise men. And so what is the response that's being called for from you? Can you bring him your chaos? What is it that is needing his attention? What are you curious about him that you don't understand, that you can come to him and say, I need to do more with this information than just know that it happened, but to say, how is this for me? And sometimes that's hard because maybe we feel like we've tried that and it didn't turn out the way that we thought it would with God. And that's because sometimes hope looks different in person. You know, I think of those shepherds out there in the field and seeing that angel choir. By the way, it was pretty spectacular to see all the lights from down here tonight. I wish you could have seen it from down here. But you think about that, and I go, that to me speaks God. That says, oh, this is what salvation should look like. It's glorious and sounds really good. Or even the star that the wise men saw, you go, well, that's cosmic level. That's universal. That's big. But the shepherds were told, no, go and look for a baby in a feeding trough. And so their expectations of what hope was going to look like had to be brought down and made very small. And I think sometimes we get in trouble, we get disappointed when our expectations of God are different than he really is. Do you find that to be true for yourself sometimes? I think my idea of hope often is God radically altering my reality, right? God miraculously transforming things for me. That's what I want. And really, this manger is about God saying, no, I'm stepping into your reality as it is, and I'm going to make that my home. And I'm going to work from there. And so often what causes the disappointment is when we're thinking that God is different than he is, and to allow him to be himself and to go, oh, if I can readjust my thought and then respond to the God who is, then there's hope that I can receive. You know, I think even when it comes to chaos and going, you know, I can wrap my mind around the idea that the externals are going to stay the same, and God can give me that peace in my heart, like the peace that passes understanding. I can still have that even when things are turbulent. And I've had to come to realize, well, even that can be an expectation of how God's working, because sometimes the chaos is inside my mind and my heart. And I have to recognize that the truth of who God is and the hope that he brings can coexist inside the chaos of me. Right? He can still, it doesn't invalidate God when that doesn't go away. He still can be there and be my hope. And so I need to adjust what I'm looking for to be able to see him and to receive him. You may remember a couple weeks ago I talked about this woman, Jill Bolt Taylor, the neuroscientist who had a stroke. And she lost all her faculties, couldn't remember anything, couldn't speak. And she was in the hospital for a long time. And while she was in the hospital, she couldn't remember her own mother. And she'd hear the staff saying, Gigi's coming. Gigi was what she called her mom. And they kept saying that Gigi was coming. She didn't know who Gigi was. And one day her mom finally got there and walked in the room. And she walked over to her, and she crawled into her bed with her and got under the covers with her. And Jill was like, oh, this is what a Gigi is. And I think the hope for us is that even when we've lost our ability to see who God is, he climbs down inside our life with us, and he's right there with us, and he makes himself known even in the midst of whatever is going on. This hope is real, and it's still for us today. And I just want to leave you with a quote from Dietrich Bonhoeffer. Dietrich Bonhoeffer was, he lived during World War II. So talk about some chaos. Trying to be a Christian in Nazi Germany. And here's what he said. He said, look up. Look up, you whose gaze is fixed on this earth, who are spellbound by the little events and changes on the face of the earth. Look up to these words, you who have turned away from heaven disappointed. Maybe you've turned away from heaven disappointed. He says, look up. Look up, you whose eyes are heavy with tears and who are crying over the fact that the earth has gracelessly torn us away. Look up, you who, burdened with guilt, cannot lift your eyes. Look up. Your redemption is drawing near. Something different from what you see daily will happen. Just be aware, be watchful, wait just another short moment. Wait, and something quite new will break over you. God will come.
Hallelujah.
God will come because he has come. He has come right here. He comes into our chaos, and he offers us hope. I'd like to just close with a prayer of response to this tonight. So let's pray together, and I don't know where you're at in terms of your connection with God as we enter into Christmas. If you've written God off, if you've tried God and found him wanting, or if you have never had any encounter with God, but if you're feeling like you are needing some hope and help in your chaos tonight and you don't know how to reach out to him, I'm just going to give you a simple prayer. And you can pray it along with me if you want to. And just say, Lord Jesus, thank you for coming. Thank you that you entered into chaos, that you speak to it. And I need you to come into my chaos. I need your forgiveness. I need your help and your hope because I'm burdened. I'm heavy. And I don't know where else to go. Would you come and speak to my need and be with me? Even if my circumstances don't change, help me know I'm not alone. Give me strength to make it through. God, I pray for each person here tonight. Lord, it's been such a crazy year. There has been so much to contend with, and we are weary. And God, we need you. And so I pray as we once again today and tomorrow remember your birth, I pray that you would meet us in fresh ways. Give each person here strength and encouragement. Thank you, God, that you're not afraid of chaos, that you've never left us. We're so grateful. In Jesus' name, amen.